Hi, my name is Katie. I'm one of the children's librarians with the Lexington Public Library. And for this fuzzy friend example, today we're going to make our very own fuzzy friends out of socks. We're going to make an inchworm and a bunny, and I can suggest to you some other ways to use old socks in order to make your very own fuzzy friends. To make your own fuzzy friend, all you need are a few simple supplies. I'm using an old sock, some hair ties, rice, a cup. For some of the activities you'll need scissors, and I have Sharpies. You can use other markers, they will bleed in the sock, but that for decoration. You can also add extra scraps of fabric or pipe cleaners or anything else you want to make your sock look a little fancy. Mine is going to be a very simple, fuzzy sock animal. So, what you do, take your sock and put it into your cup. A taller one is better. I used a shorter cup to begin with, but then my sock kept on getting filled with rice and there wasn't room to expand it. You're going to want to stretch the sock over the top of the cup, just like that. And then you don't have to use a measuring cup filled with rice, but it does make it a little bit easier to pour. And really, all you have to do is pour rice into the sock. You see how quickly it fills up. We want this to be fairly full. I'm going to give it a little bit more room. See how full it is. And then hopefully I won't get rice everywhere. Perfect. All right, now my sock is not completely full. You could also use polyfill or cotton batting or something else to stuff your sock. I suppose you could use beans or something like that, but it would have a very different feel. Rice is fairly nice because it has a bit of give, there's a little bit of heft to it, and it makes it just a really nice feeling for your sock. So obviously it's all sitting down at the very bottom. That's not what we want. We do want, however, to tie off the very top of it at the beginning, because otherwise rice will come pouring out of the top of your sock. Now this is a no-sew item. You do not have to have any sewing skills in order to make this work. See, there. But I caution you, because it is no sewing, eventually your ties will come off of the top and you will have rice or cotton fiber or whatever everywhere. So this is not a permanent fuzzy friend unless you are super careful with it. You might sew it shut, or you might hot glue it, or some other way of fastening it. And then what you're going to want to do is spread out the filling and take more of your hair ties or rubber bands to create sections. This is a great fine motor activity. You have to really work with the material you've got. There's one section. This is going to be a very lumpy inchworm. Section it off there. Make sure if you double up on your twist ties or rubber bands or hair ties to make sure that you get them in the same place so you're not having additional lump. Unless, of course, that's what you want. You're creating your very own fuzzy creature. So you can do whatever you want. Maybe you want this to look very disjointed and silly. Or maybe you want it to be more of your very own fuzzy creature. There we go. I have my very own inchworm. Like I said, the end of it, you'll want to make sure I looped my hair tie around it probably about 3 or 4 times, simply for added security so that the rice doesn't come pouring out of the end of it. Now you could add eyeballs with your markers, you could add a face, you could write on this. This sock is not going to be used by anyone in my house anytime soon, so I could certainly make it to be whatever I wanted. But that is your very own fuzzy inchworm. To make a different kind of creature from your inchworm, we're going to make a sock bunny. So, again, you need a sock. This one happens to be inside out. I don't think that really matters, but for aesthetic purposes. And again, stuff it into your cup and stretch it out over the top. I recommend using something that will not break, simply because you might have the cup sling across the room. All right. I used probably about 1.5 cups of this. I could probably have used a little bit more in my sock creations, but I decided 1.5 cups would do. So again, pour the rice into your empty sock. Try not to get it all over the place. You could also, again, use fiberfill or some other kind of filler material, but rice was available, and it does make for a nice little heavy sock animal. A nice little fuzzy friend that has some weight to it. All right, there. Now, this one we're going to make into a bunny. The lovely thing with this, again, tie up off your top to begin with. We're going to do something a little special to this part of the top. I'm using about 3, maybe 4 twists for the top, just to make sure that the rice doesn't come out. There. Like I said before, make sure that your rubber bands or your hair ties are all in the same spot so that you don't have any strange lumps. Nobody wants a strange, lumpy, fuzzy friend. Oh, goodness. Well, I still had rice in the top of that. Oh well. There. All right. Now, the lovely thing about this is it already kind of creates a little bit of a shape for the face, because this is where the heel of the sock was. So what we're going to do, it looks a little disturbing, but we're going to strangle our bunny and put another hair tie there. Sorry, bunny. It's for the good of all. And this one you probably only need a couple of there for your bunny head. And then, in order to make the bunny look a little bit more like a bunny, I'm going to add a couple of embellishments. Squeeze just a little bit at the very end for a tail. And then wrap that around probably about 3 or 4 times, simply because it's so little. And then you will have a little fuzzy cottontail on the end of your bunny. There we go. You could also, if you really wanted, you could create, if you didn't want to create a bunny, you could create like a dog or a cat and loop off little segments, maybe do 4 of them for feet. This one I decided that we would make into a bunny and just one little tiny cottontail at the end. So in order to make this look a little bit more like a bunny, what we're going to do is take those scissors and trim the top of your sock. Obviously, by this point, you got to remember, you're not going to be wearing this sock again. So you can embellish it as you will. If you will be wearing the sock again, don't do this to it. It won't be very wearable. These are terrible scissors for cutting, so I'm just going to have to be kind of careful in how I create my flopsy ears. Really terrible. Hopefully you have better scissors than I have. All right. So, and in order to create some flopsy ears, you want to get that even further down. There we go. And then just cut off a little bit of the excess to a nice pointy ear shape. I'm hoping that you have better scissors at home than I do, but you know what? We work with what we've got, and that will be all right. There's one part of the ear, and then curve around to the other side. Again, this is not particularly perfect or precise, and that's all right, because we're just making something fun and silly. After all, I have about 4,000 stuffed animals in my house already. I certainly didn't need another. See, look, it makes a really nice flopsy ear shape. And then we'll do that same thing to the other side. Round it and point it at the end. Not exactly the most perfect job that I would ever want to do, but there we go. A couple of flopsy ears. And my very own Flopsy Bunny has taken form. I now have a Flopsy Bunny and a Flopsy Inchworm, and I have created my very own fuzzy friends. Now that you've created your very own Flopsy creations, your little very fuzzy friends, I hope you share them with us. Use the hashtag LPL at home. Hopefully your bunny's head won't flop as much as mine. And show us what you've got. Keep on checking out our website, www.lexpublib.org, for more events and exciting things that we're doing this summer. We can't be in the library providing programming, but this is what we're going to be doing online. And keep checking back with us both on our website and on our Facebook page for more library events.